Ben Shakespeare, Councilwoman Lena Mathis, Councilman Denny Drake, Councilman Wendell Goober, Councilman Jarrett Wade are all here, so we appreciate having them here. Appreciate those in the audience, and we'll recognize a few here in a few minutes. But we'd like to begin the meeting with an opening ceremony. We've asked Councilwoman Mathis if she would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening comments. Would everyone please rise and salute the flag?
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful to be gathered here as citizens of Santa Clara this evening, and we're grateful for the many blessings that we receive from living within this area. We're grateful for the heritage that we have, and we ask that Thou would watch over us in these times and help us to remain safe. We ask You to help us to consider those citizens within our community and to do the right things on their behalf and for our city. We're grateful for the many blessings that we receive from Thy hand, and we ask for our guidance this evening. And this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thanks, Lena. Communications and appearances. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the council tonight on an issue that's not part of the advertised agenda? Brock, be receiving?
Not receiving.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move into number 4, conflicts and disclosures. Counselor, is there any conflict that you'd like to disclose tonight? Any conflict of interest with what's on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move down to the working agenda. Item 5A, we don't have any public hearings scheduled for tonight. 5B is the consent agenda, council. Approval of the claims and minutes, the July 22nd, 2020 regular city council minutes, the July 22nd executive session, the August 5th city council work meeting minutes, and the claims through August 12th. The second item on the agenda is just the calendar. UAMPS, the virtual conference is August 16th to 19th, right, Jack? They're still doing the virtual one? Okay. We'll meet again on August 26th, regular city council meeting. The work meeting is on September 2nd, September 7th, Labor Day. The office will be closed. We'll meet again on the 9th and the 23rd of September. So, is there any questions on the consent agenda? Any questions on the claims or minutes? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Denny and a second by Lena to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any question on that motion? It is money item. All in favor say aye. Wendell?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Jarrett?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Item C1, introduction to new firefighter recruits. Chief Hancy? You told them they have to come to the first 6 city council meetings now?
I didn't let him know that.
Stay
Phil.
through the whole thing?
Just now.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you can see, I've got my firefighter recruits here tonight that I'd like to introduce to you. So if they'll kind of come up here, I can introduce them. And maybe if you'd like to ask them a question or two, they could answer a question. But I'd like to recognize each and every instructors. If you guys will come up as well. So our instructors are Captain Fold. He's one of our full-time firefighter captains. And Lieutenant Youngberg. He's been with the department for several years with Santa Clara, probably 15 plus. And he's also one of our EMTs who works on the ambulance with us. So these guys, I wanted to recognize them as well. They put in many hours behind the scenes to train this class. Just to give you a little bit of background on what it takes for this class to get trained, is they started in January with their wildland firefighter training. That was about 40 hours plus. And then we started our Fire One Academy. And then with this year, the way things went, we had to kind of readjust that and put that on hold for a little bit. But the total class hours I figured for Fire 1 and Fire 2 that they just recently completed their Fire 2 training about, what, 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Week and a half. That's 120 plus hours that they put in. And these are all volunteer hours for many of these folks. So they put a lot of time in to get this training, and they're going to be testing this Saturday, which is their state written and practical test. They've got Saturday that I know they've been studying hard and getting ready to do that. And then they'll have their fire training complete, and then they'll move on to hazmat training. And they've got 40 plus hours of hazmat training to go. So we were up front with these folks and told them it would take about a year of training to become fully certified. And I know they put in, like I mentioned, over 200 plus hours by the time that they'll complete their hazmat training to get this certification. So I wanted to commend them and recognize them for their service to the city. They've still got some training and testing to go. But I'll just, maybe name them. They can come up by name. Christopher Clifford, he's a Santa Clara resident. Travis Marks, also Santa Clara resident. Braden Rodmacher, is that right? Jessica Harward and Joe Holmes, they're actually advanced EMTs, and they're on shift right now as we speak. So if their pager goes off, they're going to have to run away. But they've been working, I know Jessica's been with us for about 13 years as an advanced EMT. Joe's fairly recent as an advanced EMT with us, but we're happy to have them working with us part-time on the ambulance and now as fire certified. So I congratulate them for getting this far. They've still got some work ahead of them, but they're looking forward to getting their training completed and being certified. Do you have any questions for them?
Questions, council?
I was worried about the hazmat, but would it be okay if they removed their masks so we can see their faces?
Sure, absolutely.
There we go.
So again, this
They
all
can put it back on. I just want to
yeah. see who we have. So again, this started at the first of the year, and it's taken 8+ months to get where we're at. So a lot of time behind the scenes. Again, Mark and Con have put in a lot of hours to make sure this stuff happens. So
Have they been on any of the fires this year?
they have some of them. Some of them have been on wildfires. Joe's actually been on shift when we've had a couple of structure fires. He's been able to put some of his training to use, hooked up to a hydrant one time for us. Gopher here has been on a couple fires with us, and they're just getting their pagers and certification. So, okay. Braden's helped us on our wildland crew, some of our controlled burns and things we've done this year. So, yeah, we're happy to have them.
Well, city's happy to have them. We appreciate the service you guys have done and taking the time to get trained, and look forward to working with you. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Council.
And thank you too. Old Reliables standing over in the back. Been around here a long time. We appreciate you. And you're welcome to sit through this one. It'll count as one of your meetings.
It is the one that said it.
Yeah, this would have been a good meeting to sit around for. Okay. Item C2, consider approval of the bid for new council computers. Brock?
All right, so I brought this to your attention a little while ago. We initially were going to do computers and monitors. So with our change out of all of our current computers to laptops to help facilitate with work from home in case we have any positive cases of COVID-19, we're going to just use those current towers, computers we'll bring in here, and then we'll just get new monitors. So we have the bid came from Computech, who is our IT. And so the amount is $2,747.32. That will be a new monitor for all the stations up here, plus one in the podium that we're going to install a computer and monitor at the podium for people who come and when they come and do a presentation or anything, they can control and do their presentation from there instead of maybe having me having to pull their stuff up and move through. So there'll be one for there as well. So these are nice, like 24-inch touchscreen. They'll be able to split so you can have two different things going. So what I've been told by Shelley. So they'll be nice.
They're the low.
And they do tilt, so so it's not going to be anything like sitting like this. It'll be able to tilt down onto a very low angle. So very nice. So nothing's really blocking you in the audience. So I think it'll be a good addition, help us out as we do continue to move this easier into a better, more electronic meeting room as well. So this will help facilitate that. So
The monitors cut off the double chin.
yeah, they do have a little bit of. So we just ask that the council approves so we can move forward with that. So.
Okay, any questions, council?
I have a quick one. Will there be cameras on those that are on the council members?
No.
Okay.
So we're moving to just like one camera that will be on the council from the back here. So we'll have a nice view of all the council from there. And then there'll also be one that'll be this way towards for the podium and the audience is what we've discussed with Pulse Sound. So,
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, so no camera in them. So.
Oh, no double chins.
Yeah, we'll have to look really
Back
close
there,
from the
that's
back of the room.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make that motion for the purchase of new computers as presented in the amount of $2,747.32.
I'll second, only that it's monitors, not computers.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a motion by Ben and a second by Jarrett to approve the purchase of the city council computer and monitors. Any question on that motion? Money item, roll call, Jarrett,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Lena,
Aye.
Danny,
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Okay, reports, mayor and council reports. Jarrett.
Hey, thank you, Mayor.
first.
I'm glad to be back for sure. Well, I was very grateful that I had the opportunity to be a part of those meetings. Thanks to our new setup. I did want to ask, I haven't got any information about the UAMPS conference. Will we be getting like email invites or?
I'll send you guys a link so that you can get registered. Jackie sent that out today, so when I go back to my office, I'll send it up to you.
Okay, perfect.
And it'll run Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday are just the typical, project meetings. So if you can chime in, I would recommend specifically if you could chime in on the carbon-free project, that would probably be one of the best meetings you could listen to.
Okay, perfect. And then Jack, I just want to compliment your crew on the crosswalk paint. Looks amazing. I really appreciate that your crew does that every year. And then also I just wanted to invite everyone to the Bmx Grand Opening. It's next Friday, the 21st. There'll be a ribbon cutting. The chamber will be there to do a ribbon cutting at 6:45 p.m. And Brock, did you get like an email invite or something
Yes.
yesterday?
Yeah, and she had spoken to me, but I don't know if anybody saw when they did their event here recently. It was very well attended.
Yeah, Lane and I were there
It
for the
was.
soft opening.
I was watching from across the wash, but man, it was very well attended.
It was
So,
fun.
Yeah, it really is fun. They're very quick races. I didn't really anticipate that. But yeah, super fun. And Connor Fields will be there, the Olympic gold medalist in BMX. And should just be a great night. So they'll do registration before that, then do the ribbon cutting, and then races will start, I think, at 7:30 or 8. If you're open to hang out, or you can just come to the ribbon cutting and go. But I know they're very, very grateful for all the help that the city has provided, and a lot of Jack's crew. I hope your crew could make it. They're certainly all invited. They wanted them in the picture with that ribbon cutting. And I do want to report on that soft opening. Brooke got a little teary-eyed. She kind of addressed the crowd, and so did Mike. And just thanking all the different organizations that have put that track together. It's, I don't know, it's quite the facility. It's pretty impressive. So really hope you can come, and that's my report.
Hey, thank you, Jared. Appreciate that. Ben?
Flood control, pretty low key meeting, just a couple small projects that were approved, and then budget, the year budget will come up here at our next meeting. I did have a question for Jack on the email, just with Lava Falls and Sandpoint, and not sure what, just on the,
The crosswalk?
is it just a crosswalk? I mean, there's 6 units in. There's obviously just 6 units across the road, and that is going to be an extremely busy road, especially when I-15 goes down for a full Saturday. So,
Yeah, we had Captain Rogers get the box up there, and I've got those, and I think did I send them to you, Rick? I think I sent
I think you did a little while ago.
and me and Rick have talked about it. I just don't want to give people a false sense that the way if it was a straight road, it wouldn't be so bad, but when they come around that corner, they come around there and they won't see people, and people are going to think that they can just cross there. And I wouldn't put a crosswalk there. I just wouldn't do it. I feel like if they really feel that serious about it, they probably ought to drive their car across the street and take their kids over there. There's, what is there, 4 or 6 units?
just 6 units. I would
units.
agree on that. I don't know if it's liability to the city there, because it is a kind of a blind crossing as you come across there. And
I mean, that'd be my recommendation. Bob, I don't know if you thought about that at all, but I would really be nervous about doing that there. And I don't know how you would really warrant it. If you wanted me to push it further, I can see, but I just, people come and go there. They're not living there. I think they're vacation rentals.
well, and eventually they are vacation rentals. Eventually you'll have development to the west where it's a little more straight away, and maybe at that, because isn't there a little lava or something's coming in, and maybe there at that point there's something, they would have to go down and then cross, but at least there you're not.
Well, we've got that 24 acres that's came to the city, and if let's say it was assisted living or another development, to me, that people would have to walk down the road a little ways to where they're out of that band. Yeah. And they would have more of a clear vision and could cross the road maybe to Lava Cove.
Or at least getting access to the tunnel, because you got the bicycle.
Yeah, it's just a long ways to go, though. They could get access to tunnel, come across, and then come over. But
I saw those emails and I thought the same thing. I thought, boy, I was HOA president of that development for about 3 years by default in 2000, whenever the crash was. But there's just 6 units, and the pool's on the Lava Falls side, so it does. But putting a crosswalk right there you're right. If they're in the crosswalk, there's not enough time as you come up that hill, make that bend, especially in the evening or when it's dark.
yeah, I'd just like more direction from you guys. If you want me to have an engineer look into it, I can do that. If me and Rick's talked about it, but I feel like it's pretty risky.
I think if we got recommendations from Jack and from Bob that it's not the right place for one, we just respond back with that.
I think over time, like I said, as future development to the west, that opportunity may come, but
There's more than 6 units that start in, like when Keller's project develops up in there, you may see some more pedestrian traffic wanting to go down toward the school or something, but he's talking senior living, so it's not going to produce school age type kids. If you had a project that was producing younger kids, non-driving, maybe you'd look at it with something, but it's going to be a hard design to put one in effect because of the geometry and the speed on that road.
yeah. I don't know if that road will ever be widened, but that would even make it more problematic at that point.
Harder.
So anyway,
You You'd have to calm it kind of like they tried to do on Rachel, where you have the safety zone in the middle and you pop out on the sides, slow the traffic down, then provide the pedestrian safety zones as he crosses. And that's quite a bit of work
Yeah.
and quite a bit of disturbance to the speed on Pioneer. So you really, when we have what happened Saturday and the gorge is shut down, it would really make it a mess. You'd see more traffic down here.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I just wanted to, sounds like you're on top of it and kind of, and
Did he recently just send another email?
no, I was just reading, he had responded to his previous email, just said he hadn't heard and
Maybe a week. Was it a week ago?
Yeah, a week ago or
About
something.
a
might
week
have been,
ago.
yeah, may not have been.
Just reply back to him, Jack.
Okay, I will. I was gone last week, so
Okay.
do that.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Lena?
Mine will be brief. Heritage Commission has not met, so there hasn't been anything come before them. And the fair is over and the booth has been taken down and the trees Brock was nice enough to pull out and set behind the building here for Brad to plant. So it's done for another year. I don't know if anybody went.
I saw pictures.
Christelle posted pictures on the website. And I did have a few people email me and text me and say they thought it was awesome. So
Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate your
welcome,
efforts. So,
welcome.
anything else?
That's it.
Benny?
We had a meeting with the Swiss Days Committee and reviewed some of the issues as far as the fun run and breakfast and those things. And none of those really fit the criteria that we've been given. The only two that possibly could is, we know the fireworks would, and possibly the parade. As we discussed the parade, they have had conversations with a number of people that said, we're not going to attend. The parade is not something that they're interested in. But anyway, it's something for us to discuss. That if I were to tell you the feelings that came out of that is, let's have a great fireworks and dedicate it to the Santa Clara City instead of Swiss Days, and just say that we live Swiss Days for a year due to COVID.
Are you gonna do the street deck? You still gonna put the cows out? So and the banners? Yeah, you have to come up here.
We talked about putting a banner, like creating a banner that said, gave some information. So when we do put the businesses up, they know that it's not like real Swiss Days, it's COVID Swiss Days. We're thanking the businesses, and then we did discuss calling it, not necessarily, we called it like the Santa Clara fireworks, so people aren't confused. Whatever. Just so people understand what's going to. What we talked about last time, and most people don't.
Council? I'm okay with it.
The non-essential Swiss
It's
Days.
a non-essential Swiss.
That's what we're calling it.
What's a non-essential? Oh, I get it. Okay.
Really,
You tell me.
just not that important.
You tell me.
Now, there's a couple of private things that are going on that could continue the car show as long as they follow the guidelines and it's not considered a Swiss Days. I think that would be no issue.
Murray.
Red Rock Car Show, I mean, they're a totally separate thing. He just coincides with our event, so.
So he could
if
still
wants to
have
do it,
his.
He can follow that.
And he could
list.
probably get in and out. I mean, that,
He could probably make it work for his event, I think, if he wants to do it. I think the guidelines would allow him to do it.
Funnel through.
Do you, Do you know if he's talked to the city?
No, I'll be discussing with him tomorrow
Okay.
and about his show and also the fireworks, because Murray's who knows fireworks.
And we'll discuss with Heritage
Yeah,
Committee- Historical Society, if they wanted to have the museum open or have a silent auction in here. If it's okay with you, I think if they followed the guidelines and submitted the form and the plan,
They can get a name and everybody that's in and contact information. They can limit how many people are in there at a time and all the things that are on that.
and there would be parking, they wouldn't need shuttles, like if all the other events aren't going on, there would be more space for the people.
We don't even
Park.
know if they would want
We haven't discussed it with
they-
them.
Reopen the museum yet?
No.
It's still closed, right?
As far as I know, they,
Yeah, so they haven't even reopened the museum yet. So it would surprise me that they might. I think you asked.
We haven't talked to them.
if they wanted, they could follow those guidelines.
They'd just leave that up to them.
We would have them probably fill out the form, or I don't know, the city, I'm now speaking on behalf of the city, so go ahead, Brock. That's
no, I
above-
I would have them, as it would be their own event, that they would fill out the paperwork from the state guidelines, have it on hand for us. And as long as they did that, and we're willing to try to follow them, that would be
fine.
up to them. to
And we
decide to
would be
do.
willing to, I would be willing to, Canyon Media has said that they would still like do some radio ads. We'll still do some radio ads. We'll still fireworks. And if there are some events that are
And
going,
just letting people know that we're not having it.
yeah, we'll do some advertising that way. So I don't know if St. George News would write an article. I know Holly's really great and I can talk to her.
Too bad she left already.
I just saw her, but I
Well,
couldn't get a hold of her.
But we'll get with Christelle, we'll get stuff on our social media about Swiss Days.
And the
Just due
newsletter.
to the current issues that traditional Swiss Days has been canceled and we'll be doing a fireworks show. So we'll get that out there. So people know, and we can get it in the mailing. We could send out with the utility bills as well, get it in the mailing there. So people all know the first part of September with that as well.
Maybe we could encourage people to come buy their cow and put it up in their neighborhood to show their city spirit.
We have some cows here for sale.
A
Yes.
few. I would need to order many more if we're gonna
Yeah.
encourage them.
It is truly amazing every year how many cows we sell. I mean, it surprises me every year. Ditsy orders a bunch more thinking, how many more will you sell? And like every year we're back to Virgil. Can you cut some more? So.
We ordered some this year, but we were gonna put out everybody just have to order if you want.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It'd be-
Everybody should need some cow.
Yeah, it'd be great to drive down lots of city streets and see all these random cows, not just on the drive.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, that's what we came to.
Do
after
we
our
have
last
any-
meeting.
Sounds
There, I don't
good.
know if anybody has
Everybody okay with that plan?
So no reverse parade.
We talked about, I don't know, maybe the people I know, maybe our kids are a little older. I don't know if some with the young kids would be more interested. I didn't find a lot of interest. I asked around and I don't know, it sounded like maybe, I mean, it was kind of like, well, there's a lot going on that day. I don't know that I would, like I've got soccer games, but I don't know that I'd stay home for that, or, I don't know. I just didn't get a lot of great feedback on that. You know, back when the elementary school did it, we were all like quarantining and had really nothing else to do. But now, our Saturdays are busier now that I just don't know. I don't
We
know.
we can totally, it's
I just
your
didn't get a
call.
great, I don't know, I didn't get a great response in the feedback I was trying to get, but like I said, I don't.
I think we're better off to cancel everything, just what you talked about. Yeah, just so it's not confusing. They hear about a parade, they're gonna come down here, there's not gonna be anything. Just so it's clear what we're doing with the fireworks, and the decorations will still go up, and just let them know that there's not gonna be any events held here unless the Historical Society wants to do something. And then it'd be up to them to advertise, and I doubt if they will.
Don't say it.
Okay. They all might be at risk
I would say that they probably are. That's one of the reasons why I'm okay canceling Swiss days is that we have so many at risk and they're so heavily involved. It's just too scary.
They're like the backbone of.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I'd like to commend our two directors here. They have worried about it and fussed over it and, you know.
It might have been easier just to do it.
I know, I've been like, this has been, you think, well, it's gotta be easier because we're not doing it, but it's been like, oh.
This weight.
Nice, like, oh.
The stress of not knowing is worse than the stress of doing. Yeah. Hopefully everything's in place and we can just rock and roll next year.
So we're good.
You're good.
Okay, that's what we wanted to find out for sure.
Sleep well.
There's a lot more that creates less sleep.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Anything else? Wendell?
Had a meeting on Monday with the Washington County Solid Waste, and they're in the process of changing their director. Neil Swindeman is no longer there, and they've got 70 applicants. 70 applicants.
Wow.
They're going to try to narrow it down to 5. There's a committee been assigned to interview the 5. They'll go from 15 to 5, just looking at the applications and trying to figure out who the best 5 are. And then they'll interview 5 and choose one. We're hoping to have that all done by the middle of September. I hope that works. But right now they say they got a lady by the name of Ruth that's running the place. She's been a behind the scenes person running the place anyway. And is doing a good job. So that's the main things they talked about besides the opt-out period on the blue can. They should be contacting you as far as, there's a company by the name of Ruckus that's going to be taking the lead on that. They'll contact each of the cities and give you information on what to do. I have a hard copy that I can give you that has been created by St. George City.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
All right.
I'll give you an idea of what they're thinking about, but somebody should contact you from Ruckus. Ruckus is in there as far as who to contact.
Okay. I have been in contact a little bit with Faye Reber, just about with our part of Blue Can on our policy regarding the opt-out. Currently, you know, when we did the opt-out years ago, you had the 90 days to opt out. And again, that's going to happen again, except for those that are already opted out or, you know, grandfather is opt out. One of the part of the policy was if you moved, you were automatically then in. One of the things that Faye had said in one of his emails is that one of the policy changes like St. George was making was if you opted out in St. George and you moved within St. George, you weren't then in, you could still remain out because you had opted out as long as you remained in St. George. And that's one we've discussed as staff is that maybe making that change as well, that as long as somebody stays within Santa Clara, you moved from one house to another, you still are opted out. You're not then forced in because you had chosen to opt out. So he did create some questions. He said things to think about is that who gets the opt out is he just scenarios. He said if somebody divorces and the husband leaves but stays in Santa Clara, does he remain opted out, or the wife and things like that? So, which I think are easy to say if they were a Santa Clara resident, it stays with that person as long as they stay within the city. But that's something we would bring. He says we need to do it by an ordinance, our policy. So something we're working on to bring back hopefully the end of the month. But
They came back, if they came here from another city, they would automatically be.
Ian. Yep. Yeah. So as soon as somebody moves to Santa Clara after the opt out period, if they weren't a resident of Santa Clara at that time, they would automatically, roughly at that time, it's an mandatory recycling really after the 90-day, unless you're already a resident.
It's September 1 to November 30th.
Correct.
Opt-out period. That's basically what they discussed. They have hired the county HR director to help with the hiring process rather than, we don't have a HR person with the district. No need to hire one just to do this. So they hired Jonathan Little from the county to have that done. That's basically all I have.
Thank you, sir. The MPO is meeting next week in the COG. I'll be gone, and so Brock and Jack are going to cover that meeting for me.
That's Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, Wednesday at noon. The MPO meets at noon, and then the COG is meeting immediately thereafter. I haven't seen the agendas. They haven't got them out yet, so I'll forward them to you when I do.
Got that on our schedules.
Just give you a report from yesterday's call on the COVID with the mayors. Our local communities down here, cases are well below the state average statistically. School is opening tomorrow as planned. The ICU is busy, but it's basically non-COVID related. There are 13 total people over at the hospital. 3 of those are in the ICU with COVID. Their Superintendent Bergeson is confident in the school opening. They're working closely with the health department. It's kind of a joint partnership with the community leadership and the health department. 85% of the parents support going back to school. A big high percentage of the parents support that move. They have 4,000 employees. 50 of those is all that have requested some type of support regarding their susceptibility. And so they'll be doing online or other types of activities. But a fairly high percentage of the employees are okay with it as well. They're taking precautions. The next couple of weeks will be a critical period as far as testing to see if something happens. They've got to be symptom-free for 24 hours to stay in class. They get 3 or more confirmed cases and the whole class goes to a virtual format. If they get 15 or more confirmed cases, the school goes to a virtual format under their quarantine regs until they bring the numbers down. They're monitoring the mental health. They're really concerned about abuse and mental health of the kids not being in school and with parents as well. And so they've got counselors monitoring that. The college is starting as well. They're expecting students to start arriving now and next week. They're wearing masks, protocols are in place. They don't anticipate any fall athletics. We saw that announced today, I think. There'll be no football at college this fall or any travel within the WAC. I guess travel within the WAC was a big issue for them in making that decision. You guys have heard Ironman's been canceled. The St. George Marathon has been canceled. The county is trying to working with the Park Service to get co-op fingers open to try and relieve some of the pressure on the park. The numbers are improving. The fall reservations look good in some of the hotels, especially the ones over to Zion. So everybody, it's kind of a tentative time right now. School's starting. They're going to pay attention and see what happens. And it could all get shut down quickly if we see it spread through the schools in a hurry. But we'll see. That's been the real issue that the mayor's been dealing with. So that's all I had. Questions for?
Mayor, one interesting thing that I've heard from my daughter who's a school teacher, she says that there's several people that have moved up from Nevada, staying in our vacation rentals and having that address as their school address.
So they're going to stay there permanently?
So their kids can go to school here. Yes.
They're going to rent the vacation rental so their kid can play football?
I think it's so they can go to school.
I've heard that's a big,
Are they permanently in the vacation rental?
Well, wife's here with kids, husband's in Vegas, that type of thing.
But they're living at the vacation rental?
Living in a vacation rental.
That's pricey.
yeah. No, I've heard that from across the county, that even that parents aren't here, they're just renting an apartment and putting a number of kids in it to come here to play fall sports.
Yeah, I've heard it, they're seniors. They're trying to keep their college scholarships. They need to play. So, yeah. Interesting. That's an expensive investment. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? Bob, anything tonight? You can take all the time you want.
Well, I got a gee whiz thing here for you. I got a request to fill out a report about our department, to report nationally. We're doing a lot of that national. Some things, it was kind of surprising to me about our police department. You know, we formed up a few years ago. We have 2 officers with master's degrees. We have 5 with bachelor's degrees. We have 2 associate's degrees. We have 2 that are actually going to school right now, 3 with military experience, 1 in the active reserve. We have 3 foreign languages. We have 3 with advanced management course degrees. Our gender makeup is fabulous. We're way above the national average. We average between 80 and 120 hours of training a year, which is way above the state average and about triple what we require nationally. When you compare that, it's very cool. You know, you think that, well, you know, what does it take when you go to the academy, you do all that. But when you look at our numbers, what our officers degree, there's nobody that comes close to us in this county. And I'm bragging, because, you know, I like bragging about the police department. I've been kind of putting together a report that we did about 4 or 5 years ago, because I want you to be impressed. I want you to realize we're more than just people in a car. Last night we were training till 1 o'clock in the morning with our new wrap that we have, and we were doing some really cool things. And we were all talking about those who are going on with their educations, and we were talking about how many of them really plan on staying here and working. You know, because we were talking about kind of a little concept. You treat your career like a rental, or you treat it like you're an owner. And it was really impressive to hear them talk about they want to raise and be here and be their families here. So our challenge as a department is to create those opportunities for them to go to school. And we have a really liberal education policy, and we have nobody looking anyplace else. So I think it's a real compliment. And we were also talking about our equipment last night. We have the finest gear. We have, and frankly, that is support from our mayors and councils and all of you, just so you know your money's being well spent. But I thought that'd be really interesting for you to know that half our department is degreed department. That is outstanding when you look at it, and how many are still going to school. So just wanted to brag that you know that filling out that report, and just to tell you thank you from all of them. And they're, like I reported a couple of weeks ago, they're doing extremely well. And you know, if you saw the meteor shower last night, it was kind of cool. But anyway, also the gorge shutting down. We were caught a little off guard on that. When that happens, we're going to have to figure something out about the market. You just can't park out there like that and cross right there. And we didn't know if it was going to be down 1 hour, 2 hours, 8 hours. But yeah, it was unsafe, and we're glad we got the call. We left them out there. But sometimes that happens fairly regular now, especially with the traffic what it is. But we're going to have to figure out a way to do that just a little bit better on those weekends.
Is it possible on something like that to have an officer up at Pioneer Parkway and to divert traffic, at least break it up and send, you know, so many down Pioneer, then let Santa Clara?
It is.
If we know when it's happening.
If we know that it's happening, that would have been really good to do. We could have used our speed trailers for that. You know, it's a temporary thing. We can put officers out there if we needed to do that.
Because I think even in my experience that day, if St. George had done something, because everybody was Sunset to Bluff. I mean, it was crazy. If they would have had somebody like Dixie Drive saying, half of you start sending people Dixie Drive would have just kept so much traffic because like Bluff was, it was backed up to like the new university of people trying to get over to turn left on the boulevard. I can only
Yeah.
imagine what the boulevard was like.
We were, first off, we were not notified that the freeway was closed. That's been fixed, you know, but I live out there and on Sunday afternoons, it's crazy. It's crazy. It is. And, you know, the market's, you know, it's not open and on that, but some Saturdays we're going to have to spend a little more time over there looking, but I think we need to figure out that back out thing and pull out. We might have to change the design.
Yeah. Well, the one problem we have with putting them on Pioneer is the asphalt's not thick enough to really handle the heavy loads. It's only 3 inches where this road here's 6.
It's the semi trucks, right? That, yeah, see that, and then I've got a meeting with the highway patrol and it's more than we can handle, frankly. But we'll get the highway patrol out there too on those days when that thing is shut down. But that's true. I didn't.
Tucson Parkway, I don't know, you know how Ivans has designed that, but it'll just tear our road up.
Yeah.
All right, scratch that idea then, Bob.
Have you talked to MPO about, I know at one time we had that federal aid project to redo Pioneer because of the flood when Santa Clara Drive was closed in '05.
I haven't
Can we
talked
go to the
them about it.
MPO and say, hey, we need some more asphalt if we're going to be the detour for I-15 when it closes? Is there any federal funds or anything we can go after?
We could see. I could ask them the next meeting.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you. Chief Hancy, anything tonight?
Just to give you an update with our wildland crew, we've had a couple of them have become exposed to, they've got a roommate that was exposed to COVID that became positive. So a couple of them are awaiting their test results. So that took 2 of them out of commission for this week. Another one is active military status. So he's doing some military work. So we're down to 1 seasonal, which is Marshall Riley. And we've also got Ty Hansen, Chief Hansen. And they'll be going out with our water tender tomorrow on a deployment up to the Richfield area, which could be up to 14 days. So they're going out. As soon as the other folks get their test results, then they can go back into service. So we're kind of shorthanded at the moment with our crew, but we do have enough to send out a request for a resource. So, and that's where we're at with that.
Where did they get exposed? Locally?
Locally, their roommate, there's 3 of them that live together, and one of the roommates received a positive test. So the other 2, which are our seasonal guys, are awaiting their test results. They've been tested and just waiting to find out before they can come back to work. So,
Thank you, sir.
that's us.
Jack? Christelle, want to give us anything?
I'm good.
Okay, I've got a couple things. First of all, I'd like to just let the council know we hit a new peak this year. We hit 17.3 megawatts, which is a record for us, little Santa Clara. And we're growing. I mean, we've got a lot of development that's coming, so that's going to continue to increase. We got looking at how much solar we had in Santa Clara City, and Christelle had to put it on the not the state report, but the US report that she has to turn in every year. And we've got just over a megawatt of solar. Most of that's on Harmon, 700 of it's on Harmon's, but the rest of it is, you know, city residents that have installed it on their homes. So you can see that that's picking up, you know, some of the load there. Also, a solar project is coming available for UAMPS members, and they didn't have quite enough members that prescribed to the project. So they send out another form asking if there were anybody else that wanted to get in on that. And I thought, you know, we probably ought to see how that turns out and see if we can get some of that. And I looked at our resources, and I think we can handle up to a megawatt of solar. And it's at a really good price. Right now, I think it's priced at $35 a megawatt hour, which is 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And so I put my name in, I put Santa Clara City in for a megawatt, and that'll be coming forward to see if you guys are comfortable with that. I'll get you more information on that. But I think with the load growth and what we've got going on and with the carbon-free project just kind of keeps pushing out further and further, we need something to help cover those loads in the future. So I think it would fit our portfolio pretty good because we can still ramp up our generators up and down to help cover, when the solar goes on and off. So I think it's a good project for us to be into at that price. It's amazing how cheap solar's got. It just keeps going down in price. Maybe just a little bit on the carbon-free project. It's getting down to the serious point. They approved it to take it to financing. And so now they want to know, really who's in and who's not. And they've put the numbers out there on what it's going to cost each individual city to be in and or get out. And our cost to go to the next phase is about $392,598 to carry it to the next phase. The thing that's probably makes most people the most nervous is making sure that the project has full prescription. Right now, with the members that we have, we're only at about 150 megawatts, maybe just a little over. There's other people that are interested in Idaho and in the northern part of the country, up into Oregon and stuff, that are really looking at the project seriously. They had another retreat where they invited other folks that might be interested in getting in the project to fulfill the just over 700 megawatts is what we need to get it to be at full prescription and make the cost at $55 a megawatt hour. So I think I would say we keep moving forward on the project. The PMC, which we go every month and we meet. If we see that we're not getting the people to join in, then the PMC, I'm sure we'll back out of it. We'll stop it, because we've got to have the other people in, or it's just going to be too expensive. Our costs will skyrocket. A lot of people are worried about the cost, but I think too, if other people come in, that can actually lower our cost. So I don't think, a lot of people think of that. It's risky. There's no doubt it's a first of a kind project, but I don't know what else there is out there, guys. I mean, we can do more solar, we can do more natural gas, but we've already got 4 megawatts down at the yard. We've got 2.5 megawatts up in Payson. And you guys know what gas prices were a few years ago. And if the gas market goes crazy and we go get more gas, more turbines, gas turbines, it would make me nervous. And I just think that this is a good 24-hour product, just like coal. It's a project we'll have for 40 years and could possibly be relicensed to 80 years. And what a nice project to have for the residents of this city to carry that forward at a decent cost. I would feel, even right now they're saying at 55, that's in today's dollars. Every year it pushes on, it's probably about 2% higher. But I think even if it went up to $65 in today's cost, I think it would be reasonable to do it. I really do. You have any questions? I mean, there's a lot more to the project than that, but I think if you listen to the speakers Monday and Tuesday, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, join in on the carbon pre-project on Wednesday. As we're talking, we'll maybe know more about who's in and who's not. But if those of you may not know, but our prescription was 3 megawatts. And then with the jump, it took it up to 4,195. So just over 4 megawatts with the jump. And, you know, they're asking members whether they want to stay where they're at or reduce that number. And I think we're going to need it. So anyway, if you have any questions.
You guys get the notice from the Taxpayers Association?
Yeah, yeah. And I've got information on that. If you guys want me to forward that information from UAMPS to you, I can do that too.
LeVar did a pretty good job from the article in the paper today.
Yeah.
The responses LeVar Webb did. That's pretty good. But you may want to forward that too, Jeff.
It's just a lot of anti-nuclear people trying to shut the project down.
Is it realistic to get this to 700 if they're only at 105?
Well, that's why we had to finally make it official project and say, hey, we're going to move forward, so that we knew what the costs were and see if we can get other participants to join. If we can't, we'll just have to drop out. But Doug is optimistic. There was, I want to say there were 75 or so people that went to, you know, were in that meeting to go up. I don't think they went, but they did it virtual. And so there was a lot of people that are interested in the Northwest, that are interested in the project. There's just, where else are they going to get the power? You know, everybody's growing. And so we're hoping that they'll all participate. If not, then we'll just have to shut it down. And then we got our losses. But when they built the IPP plant, it was a big risk. And, you know, they worked through it and they completed that plan. And it wasn't an easy thing. And even on Hunter and the coal-fired plants that they built, you know, if the forefathers wouldn't have looked forward into the future, we wouldn't have those plans. And it's not easy. But we need to be smart about it. We want to get it engineered down to a phase 1, so we know where those costs are really going to be before we all jump in. Just to let you know, with the DOE money, our cost right now would be $392,598, but without the DOE money, our cost would be $2,559,000. So that just gives you an idea how much money the DOE, the government, is subsidizing this project to help it. They want it to go. They want it to work. Now, there's another risk, is if the DOE, the politics and people change, would they still fund this project? Because it goes on, they have to keep approving it. But so far, both sides are pretty much supportive of this type of project, Democrat or Republican. That's basically all I've got on that. I will tell you, we had the stormwater audit. Wasn't fun. We were in the round room over here for 3 days. All of us, me and Scott and Fred and Christelle. Wasn't much fun, was it? We're lucky to have that over with, and we'll see, I think within, what they say, a month? 60. Yeah, 90 days we'll get our final to see if we've got any issues. There were a couple things on training. We were a little short. And on our detention basins, we didn't have documentation of when we'd gone up and made sure that they were clean. We'd done it. We knew we'd done it. We just didn't have proper documentation. And we only have, what, I think 7? Is it 10? We have 10, and some of those are private. And she was shocked that that's all we had. I don't think she was real happy that that's all we had. She thought we'd have a lot more. But I kept reminding her that we're only, what, 2 miles square. So anyway, I think we went through it really good. I think we had a lot of positive points. We'll see. I don't know. They're just looking for something wrong. I mean, it seems like. I know St. George had a battle with them and wasn't much fun for them either. But I feel like we're really making an effort. You guys have given me the staff with Scott and we've got Corey certified, we've got Fred certified, and they were really impressed with that. Our building inspectors that are out there inspecting these homes every day are actually certified and doing the single lot inspections. And one thing they were impressed with is if they haven't got it cleaned up, these guys don't do their inspections. They stop work. They just say, no, we won't do your inspection until you get it cleaned up. And so there were some things like that I think they really, really liked. Let's see. We'll be bringing the new LID in the next meeting for approval. We had a meeting yesterday in Ivans with all the coalition, and we talked about that. One of the things that's interesting is how are we going to fund that? Or if you have a 40 lot subdivision come in on let's say 10 acres or something, they have the opportunity to do their LID individually on each lot. So they retain the water on their lot, or you could put a retention basin down at it, maybe at the end. And then if it's not association, who maintains that? And then every year? Every year, the resident that owns that house has to report to the city that they're maintaining that LID on their property. And then in 5 years, we have to send an inspector out to make sure that if they're got downspouts or they've got a garden area that they're running their runoff off of their house to, that they haven't put a shed in there, or they haven't changed that or tore it out. And so those are some things we need to think about, how we're going to do that. Are we going to charge a fee? Is the stormwater fee that we're already collecting enough? Those are some things that are going to be coming down the pipe. I would hope that on these developments, when they come in, that we would just have one big retention basin, and I think the city just take them over, and then we maintain them. I can't imagine going back to each individual lot.
Charge a fee, add that, whatever that additional cost is, that add into the stormwater fee or something.
Yeah, we could do that.
'Cause that's the only way you're going to keep that retention.
Once our bonds are paid off on the stormwater stuff that we put in, then, we could possibly lower it or just leave it the same, But I was quite shocked about that. I didn't realize we had the residents had to inspect it every year, and then we've got to inspect it every 5 years and have that documentation. This is every city in the state of Utah. The other thing is when somebody comes in with a preliminary plat, we probably already need to, one of the first things that these contractors or developers need to do is get right on the LID and know what their dirt. We need to get the,
Geotech report.
Yeah, geotech report before they even start to plan how they're going to put their lots in and stuff. So we know, the engineers know what they're going to do before they start putting homes on it. So anyway, let's see. I think just
The stormwater ordinance is coming back for the revisions at the same time as the LID stuff, right?
yes. And then also our MS4 permit is going to be coming right after that. We have to redo that and send that back into the state. We're going to be just a little bit late, but we've got to redo our MS4 permit, though. We've already got one. We just have to update it and send it to the state and have you approve it. What's that? Yeah, it's a stormwater management plan is what it is. Also, we've had our lineman job advertised, and we're not getting a lot of applicants, but we do have 4 now that we're going to interview next week and see how that goes. And I think that's pretty much all I have, just normal maintenance, and guys are working hard and doing a great job.
Thanks, Chad.
Yep.
Corey, anything?
So we had a request from Clayton Levitt today. We met with Clayton Levitt down here on Camus Lane. He wants to extend that to put in like a flag lot. The city owns a parcel of property down there. Brock can bring that up. Where'd you put it? In the council reports.
Under this regular city council meeting.
Yes, this one right here.
I don't have anything in there, Corey.
Well, I really did hit send, submit.
You put it in the through Dropbox? You put it in through Dropbox into there? Or do you do it as a action request?
As a action request.
Oh, well, yeah, because that only would go to Chris and stuff. It doesn't get into Dropbox through that way.
Oh.
So we don't.
While they're looking for that, Mayor, I just thought I'd bring this up, but from hours 15 to 22, we're about 10 megawatts short of resource, and we're buying that off the market.
From hours 10 to 22?
From hours 15 to 22.
So from like 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 10?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're buying how much on the market?
10 megawatts.
Oh, crap.
It's a lot. So you can see if the market went crazy on
Yeah,
us.
if it went crazy, we'd be dead.
And the only good thing is that there's so much solar out there from California. They flooded the market that there's just so much resource sitting there. They can't hardly give it away. And so we're doing really well, but that's,
Doesn't that dial off though? And
it does. Yeah, it does. About 6 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock, it starts dropping off. Jared know better than me. He's got one.
But you're buying it at 40% less right now.
We are buying it less. Yeah, we're skinning a cat, but I've
$35, so.
got to remember, we've seen it clear up to
Yeah.
$350 a megawatt hour, which is 35 cents a kilowatt hour.
Mayor Drake let us through Enron. He can do it next
Yeah,
time.
he did.
I'm creating a new company called Enron.
Looking for investors.
Just take it down to the map if you can, Christelle, please.
So yeah, these yellow highlighted area is the portion that the city owns. It was supposed to be a roadway at one time. It's going at the end of Camus Lane, going east. We don't plan on it's not on the road master plan. Camus Lane is scheduled to go straight down to the river on the master plan. So this parcel, I guess I'm requesting that we survey it and maybe ask the property owners if they want it to abandon it so that we don't have the liability of the trees that are there, just the property that we're not going to use that we have to maintain.
Got the little piece of next to Mel Taylor's too, right? That other little narrow strip that's just north of the subdivision. Is city, a piece of city owned as well.
I think we discussed that and that being incorporated into the roadway.
I'm talking about
The little
between
blue-
Old Farm and Camus. That little narrow strip just north of the subdivision.
No, it's on the
The one on the west.
south side of Mel Taylor's property. That little strip.
No, back up the other way.
Right by that field, that little sliver running along.
Between Old, right here, between Old Farm Road and
Yeah, right there.
There's a little piece in there that you may want to do the same thing.
Maybe we could bargain on that to get the roadway.
I was thinking chain link fence with serpentine wire.
What we were suggesting is maybe see each property owner there and just split it.
Yeah, there's a number of them that run down behind, and so we just try to clean it up, that property that we're not going to use. We just go to all those property owners and say, we want to request and we'll abandon it to them.
Do we do, I mean, are we selling the property or we, because does it put us in a problem?
Usually we just, if we have a roadway that we're not going to build on, if they request the abandonment,
If they dedicate it, then it can be abandoned. But they have to pay for the survey and the abandonment.
okay.
So I think that same principle could hold here. They pay for the survey and sell it back to them.
So, but adjacent property owners are the ones that get the choice before anyone else.
Correct.
I mean, so we don't sell the whole strip to somebody and then they hold the other guy.
And I think you just have it surveyed and legals written up and offer it to those adjacent property owners. Cost of the survey.
The Lopez's that are going to build on that lot behind Chad, at the bottom of their lot, they've got a storm drain catch basin kind of to catch the water that comes down that curb. And if we break that up, I feel like that it needs to fall more on Clayton's, maybe on Clayton's property where it hits that bigger ditch, because he doesn't want to take those trees out. He wants to keep that ditch there, just clean it up and keep the ditch. And then I would say, you know, we just require him to keep that clean. So you won't get a lot of water off that curb, that little bit of road. There's only 2 lots. And if he'd be willing to keep that clean, and so have a drop box there to have it drop into that ditch out of the curb.
How big's his lot? His new lot?
It's we're a ½ acre each.
So he's doing 1/2 acre lot.
He wants to do phase 1, phase 2, and just do one lot with a 25-foot
Flag lot.
flag lot going back.
So is it going to be combined more than an acre?
No,
So he doesn't have to do the LID.
no. He will have to do an LID with both of them. They're just over an acre. So he will have to do an LID. And I told him
He'll
that,
have to go through the LID.
yes,
But you could transfer the Lopez input into his LID,
yes.
right?
And he's aware of that.
Yeah, if the city doesn't need it, was that just an old platted road?
Old platted road. I
The
think,
old survey,
Jack, didn't
the
you
old
say that
farm
was
survey.
the Santa Clara, the canal company easement at one
Yes.
time that's abandoned?
We've got the
now?
old ditch that nobody's using.
So it came to us from the county.
Uh-huh. Plus, there was a little portion there that they always used to take their wagons down.
And it's only like 2 lots deep. After Christelle looked at it, the Cottonwood Estates, during their preliminary plat, they
They subdivided.
subdivided it and it's part of their, so it's only 2, it's the Lopez's and the other property to the, so it's not very deep. Rather than us have a piece of property we have to maintain.
If Lopez's don't want it, because if they take a portion of that, they'll have to pay for improvements down the rest of the way. And if they don't want it, is the council okay if Levitt, if Clayton Levitt takes it all? If Lopez's don't want any of it?
Are they the only one? The south of it is the river.
Yes.
I mean, there's nobody privately owning anything on the south side.
The Gubler piece, but it's down in the river.
Yeah. His daughters each own a piece of that. And so Clayton's wife will take the first section, and then I think there's 2 more sections that the other daughters will take.
Heather.
okay with it, council? Want to
I
need it for anything?
I don't want to see a problem created by giving ground behind somebody else's property. It's going out. So it definitely needs to be run by the property owners and giving them first chance.
Yeah, so we spoke with Lance Rigby today, who's the representative for the Lopez. So he's going to discuss with them, and we've spoken with Clayton as well, that both of them want it. We just kind of split it, and they each could take a half. If the Lopez or whatever did not want it, then it could possibly be offered all to Clayton if he wanted it, so.
This probably should be done via a letter, that there's documentation that says, hey, there's going to be a meet. I get worried when it's a verbal, especially what we're going with on the Hill right now is we're talking, and I know we've done this in the past, granting property, but I don't know how much property is. It looks like a decent amount.
I think something we need to have our attorney draw.
We can do that.
Very good.
Thanks, Corey.
While Corey's here, is anything happening on what we looked at last week at the Heights? Did we?
The line's getting surveyed. And then we'll probably have to meet with property owners, depending on where the pegs fall. We've gotten a hunch they're falling in backyards.
What about the other property owners? One of those property owners contacted me.
We're surveying all of the homes that front that rim.
Okay.
Where there's any question about overlap.
The
They're
guy
gonna put
that
the
talked to you at the end is the one that called me.
The one down at the south end.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talked to him
Just
that,
where the road goes down is his property on the left.
we talked to him that day.
But he called me and I told him to get with Corey.
Yeah,
we're
we talked to
putting-
him that day.
Yeah, we're putting the pegs in and then we'll see what the impacts are. I've asked him to photograph the pegs so that we can see just how much of them, how much yards we're talking about. And we'll bring something back to you.
And we probably ought to do like a survey of our property in the city and get some no trespassing or city property stakes up so that,
Yeah, they're staking that whole property line so that you can post it however you want to.
and I'm talking about, we have property over on that side of the wash. We have property along the hill here. It's, so those encroachments happen all the time, like you've seen up there. It's pretty hard to police all of our property and see who's encroaching where.
And I have no idea how much of that's been surveyed. If any of it ever.
Just how much do you want to find?
Yeah, how big a problem is it? The one thing I would like to do though, because it doesn't take a lot of cost, is I would like to zone all that open space, all that city.
Which requires a survey anyway, so.
Increase the boundary. You can probably use the boundary that's of record at the county. But, because most of them, some of them are lots, some of them are other, but we ought to get it zoned open space so there's no land use entitlement. Yeah, there's some. They've been dumping the wood clay back there.
There's
We
all
love it. We
there's
love it
all
when they dump
sorts
the
of
wood
stuff
clay.
going in there.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll work with Christelle and get that.
good. Anything else, Corey? Thanks, Corey. Brock?
Just to kind of coincide with Corey saying we're working on, through this property with the Steeds acquisition type of thing, we are working on a application that people who want to go through an application, they'll have to submit. We'll bring it back to council for approval, that they would actually, documentation, they'd have to go through, put a lot more of the work and the burden on the applicant who wants to. We'll have a filing fee will associated with it, but they'd have to go get a lot of the documentation that kind of, a lot of times it ends up we've done a lot of the work, but it'll be upon them. So we're working on that. We'll bring back council chambers for the update a little bit. We want to do for electronic means. We met with Pulse Sound again today. They're working on some final things. I'll bring back a number of quote to kind of finalize and bring a lot of the stuff that we've kind of piece together a few of the things, bring it all together. So work a little bit more seamless. And then just an update, if you guys probably already know, Chris Shelley, our city recorder, her brother Mark Walters passed away last night. And so, she won't be with us for a little bit, but so Mark Walter passed last night. Yeah, Chris Shelley, Chris is adopted in the family, but passed away last night. So, yeah. Yeah, one really quick. So,
Go ahead. Okay. Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Anything else, council? Sweet. I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Jarrett and a second by Wendell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.